So you've got this brilliant idea, right? But you're struggling to get noticed. I mean, in a world just packed with startups, how do you become the one that everyone, customers and investors, is just drawn to? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. We're talking about the formula for turning your business into an absolute magnet, all based on the work of Dr. Ebi Ofrey.
And Dr. Ofrey kicks things off with this really powerful idea. He says 80% of success is just having access to the information for success. Think about that. Success isn't some big secret, it's a blueprint. And that's what we're doing here. We're going to unpack that blueprint piece by piece.
All right, so here's our game plan for building this magnet. We'll start with the foundation, the law of income. Then we'll get into the two main pillars, mastering demand and innovating supply. After that, we'll add the final polish with quality and quantity. And finally, we'll look at the big payoff, attracting those investors. All right, section 1, the law of income. Look, every magnet needs a solid foundation, right? So before we can start attracting anyone or anything, we've got to understand the basic physics of the business world. And that's what Dr. Frey calls the law of income. So what is this law of income? It's simple, but it's a total game changer. It says you will be paid in direct proportion to the amount of value you deliver according to the marketplace. The crucial part here, your income isn't tied to how hard you work. It's tied to the value you deliver. And it can't just be value you think is important. It has to be something the marketplace actually recognizes and is willing to pay for. That is a simple but absolutely profound shift in thinking. Okay, so we keep saying value, but what does that even mean? Well, it breaks down into these 4 key components. First up, you've got demand. Are you solving a real problem? Then there's supply. How unique is your solution really? Next is quality. How well are you actually executing this whole thing? And finally, quantity. Can you do it at scale? Each one of these is a critical building block for the magnet we're putting together. So let's dive into that first pillar, mastering demand. This is where it all begins. And the key thing to remember is this. It's not about what you can build. It's all about what problem you can solve for somebody else. You absolutely have to avoid this trap. It's the #1 mistake so many founders make, creating a solution in search of a problem. You know, they build this really cool app or a clever gadget just because they can, and then they look around and realize nobody actually needs it. The real key, the secret to attracting customers, is to solve a problem they already have. So how do you find a problem that's actually worth solving? Well, Dr. Ofrey points to 2 main paths. The first one is experiential. This is where you solve a problem you've personally faced. It's like his own story, right? He co-founded GeroCare after his father had 2 strokes, and he suddenly realized that millions of adult children were struggling with the exact same thing, trying to manage their elderly parents' health from far away. That's a real problem. The second path is postulatory. This is where you go out and do the research. You talk to at least 50, maybe even 100 potential customers. You dig in, find out their frustrations, and figure out what they would actually pay to fix. Okay, finding a real problem is a fantastic start. But let's be honest, you're probably not the only one trying to solve it. And that brings us right to our second pillar, innovating supply. This is all about how you stand out from the crowd and basically make your competition irrelevant. And this leads us to a really powerful concept called value innovation. Now, this is not about being just a little bit better than your competition. It's about being fundamentally different. The goal is to find a way to increase the value you give to customers while at the same time reducing your own costs. When you pull that off, you create this wide open, uncontested market space, what people call a blue ocean, where you're pretty much the only one sailing. Let's look at exactly how GeroCare did this, using a framework you can use too. So first, what did they eliminate? The physical hospital building and all that overhead. What did they reduce? The price and the hassle of payment, using a simple subscription model. What did they raise? The actual time spent with patients, from just a few minutes in a clinic to over 30 minutes at home. And what did they create? A brand new structured system for doctor home visits across the country. See what they did? They didn't try to compete with hospitals. They just made them irrelevant for their customers. So, you've got a great idea that solves a real problem in a super innovative way. Awesome. But now it's time for the final polish. This is all about executing flawlessly and making sure you're ready to scale. Now, when we say quality, it's not just about the product itself. Think about it. Let's take McDonald's. Do they have the world's best burger? Probably not. But what they do have is an absolutely incredible business system and a super consistent customer experience, no matter where you are. You need all 3 of these things. A solid product, sure, but also the business quality to run things smoothly and a fantastic customer experience. And that amazing experience, it has to cover every single touch point. It's called the buyer experience cycle. You've got to map out the whole journey. How easy is the purchase process? How smooth is the delivery? How simple is it to actually use the product? You've got complimentary services, maintenance, even disposal. Your job is to go through every single stage and hunt down those pain points and just get rid of them. Make it easy, make it smooth, make it a delight.
All right, so once you've done all this hard work, you've built the magnet by solving a real problem with an innovative, well-executed solution, it's time for the big payoff. We're talking about attracting investors. Now, this might be the single most important takeaway in this whole explainer, especially for anyone looking for funding. Forget your fancy pitch deck for just a second. You have to attract customers before you can attract investors. That is what we call traction. It's the one thing that investors are drawn to above anything else. It's just simple proof that real customers love what you do and, crucially, are willing to pay for it.
And just look at the order of importance here. What do investors really want? Number one, by a long shot, is traction, proof that customers love and pay for your solution. Number two is a strong team, the people who can actually execute the vision. And way down at number three, that's your good idea. See, investors don't really invest in ideas, they invest in momentum. So focus on getting those customers first. The investors, they will follow.
All right, let's bring this all together. Here are the key takeaways, your complete business magnet formula.
So here is your checklist. First, always obey the law of income. Deliver real value. Then, master demand by solving a problem people will actually pay to fix. Next, innovate your supply to create your own market space. Don't forget to polish your quality, perfecting both the product and the experience, and prepare for quantity, making sure you can scale. You do all that, and you'll find that traction does the work of attracting investment for you. So in the end, the real question isn't about funding or scaling, is it? It all comes back to that very first step. Your entire business magnet is built on one thing: value. So let me ask you, what problem will you solve first?